First, we need an approval or corrections or additions to the meeting of, I think only our regular commission meeting held on the 12th of May.
So move with one correction.
Okay,
Merdan's first name needs a cap.
We caught it, and we did change it on the final.
Okay.
wow, you guys are tough.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, there's no action items, I believe.
Not this month.
Okay. Okay, we'll go to the department updates. Safety committee. I guess nothing to be asked or said. Okay, how about we'll go to the line superintendent report?
No squirrels.
Not after work, anyway. Or no visual evidence.
No.
Okay, how about the water department report? I said the crews, I saw replace lead service on 17th Avenue South. Are we still getting money from the DNR or something for lead replacements?
Yep, the new one actually just got taken up to council and mayor last council meeting, so it should be starting pretty soon again.
We don't see a lot of these lately.
Yeah, it's trending downwards.
Is there many left? I know when we started, there was like around 100 or something.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and do an actual count on it again, but it's getting less and less with reconstruction.
Yeah.
Trees and stuff, we're getting less. So.
Good, at least somebody's still doing it.
I have a question. So so they're moving over, the construction crew is moving to 18th Avenue. I'm assuming you're gonna run into some lead over there. Is there a reimbursement for that too? For new construction?
This year, yeah, should be, you can apply for it.
Is that up to the property owners?
Property owners have to do that, yes.
And are they aware of that?
They should be, or they will be when we get out there.
Okay.
A lot of times we don't know exactly what's in there, so you have to dig it up.
Yep.
So.
Okay, thank you.
Did we inform the property owners in the beginning about that they would have lead service into the house? I mean, did you really know if they did or not?
Not every one of them we did. As
Okay.
we go forward now, we do our cross-connection survey and stuff like that. We document all the services that are in the house, so I have a better idea what's out there.
So one of the issues we have is that we replace our lead piece, but the homeowner is not.
So have we really accomplished anything? But isn't that what that money's for?
It is, it's for the private side, to get compensation for theirs.
Right. So they really should be doing it,
There as well. One other thing going on, you've already heard quite a bit of it in the media, is that PFAS contaminant, whatever out there, that's forever
Right.
contaminant. In talking with Jim, we decided to have our water tested for it already. And we did a method of 537.1, which is 37 different components of that particular PFAS. And we come out virtually undetectable in all categories, so we're in excellent position. So just so in case you get questions down the road, you can say we're ahead of the game. So.
Thank you for being
Excellent.
proactive and doing the testing.
So.
Yeah.
Get out ahead of the regulations, I guess.
Well, you know the question that is going to come up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the irony of it is they're still using that to protect your popcorn bag.
Oh, it's actually in your potato chip bags anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get sticky. Even your sticky notepads, it's on that, it's all over. So, like I said, EPA and DNR does not have any limits or anything set yet, so it's all, it comes down the line, so it's just so we're ahead of the game. So,
It's also questionable as to whether or not it's toxic. I understand that if your blood is tested for it, you'll find that it's in your blood. It probably has been for years.
What is it? Never heard of plastics.
It's a fluorine compound that is a grease repellent.
No?
Yeah.
So you don't think we should personally worry about it in our blood?
It's apparently not a big
Okay.
deal. There's a lot of us that have it that are still around.
Oh, man. Are there any other questions of Dale? If not, the customer support supervisor report?
Good to see these numbers coming into line. I was also seeing you mentioned last month that there may be more of these broken arrangements. Is this about what you expected or better than?
It's actually better than what we expected, but we are calling all of the people who have a payment arrangement, a reminder call, and reminding them that their payment needs to be made about a week ahead of time. I think that's helped. Actually, this is a better success rate than we've ever had in the past. So I know there's a lot more, so it looks worse, but
Okay, good. And I see this 28 properties were inspected for cross connection. And that's being reported out of the office? We have, like, the office people are doing the cross connection checks or just reporting?
we have one employee that does cross-connection inspection half-time. So
Okay,
that's why I'm reporting it on our report.
okay.
The cross-connection report gets filed every year with the DNR. People report on, so we get the results what we inspected for residential along with industrial and commercial. So it's a report I have to send to DNR every June.
And this, didn't we just pick this up, Bill?
We did have we were contracting out to the same people that were doing the commercial and industrial, but we took it in-house.
Okay. I also noticed that, well, we'll get to that later.
Anything else, Lynn? If not, the Director of Finance report?
Thanks for following up on this earnings,
Sure.
what the alternative would be, and the fact that it's not viable.
Yep. And unfortunately too, I mean, you'll see all the, CD specials when you look for the 10 best CD rates and everything. Unfortunately, these brokerage accounts can't hold them. They're more just for consumers and personal accounts. So even some of the higher rates that are coming out there right now are just not available to the utility, unfortunately.
On this water distribution losses, I see we're beating goal, but it still looks like a lot.
Doesn't really get the PSC's attention until it's 20%.
I also see that in the payments that we paid for someone recently to leak detection.
Yeah, Dale can update you on that.
Yeah, we found,
Did we find anything?
they actually found like 10 different hydrants that had noise. We went back and checked those hydrants. We found a hydrant had to be operated on more intensity and stuff to get it to stop leaking. There might have been something in the bottom seat, whatever. And then from there we had 3 other locations that were quite a bit of noise. We actually dug one up last week on 16th Avenue, which was a break. It was running into a sewer, so it wasn't coming up. So we repaired that one. We have 2 more of them on the list that we have to do yet, so.
Was that a hydrant again that you dug up, or was that just a pipe?
It's a water main, it's just that you hear the noise in the hydrants, you
Oh.
access to hear the noise and see if they have something in the area that you have to investigate further. So that's kind of their tools, to go around this every hydrant. If it's loud, then they move back and try and pinpoint where it is and what it is, so. So having 3 breaks per se in the whole city isn't bad. Last time I think we did, we had like 7 or 10 or something like that, so pretty good so far.
We generally do that every couple of years. We do that about every couple of years.
I'm glad to see you doing that.
Yeah.
It should cut into the 11% even, right?
Yeah.
About 11% comes from unaccountable water loss. Like, let's say you had a fire or somebody had somewhere that doesn't get documented how much it is. We take an estimate at the end of the year and try and figure out how much it should be and so forth. So it's stuff doing what we blow off the hydrant maintenance or something like that, or flushing maintenance that gets documented as unaccountable because it's not actually metered and stuff. So that's a number that's kind of a moving number.
So any of your flushing would fall into this category.
Yeah, we try to get as close as we can. We time how long we're flushing with the gallons per minute, so we have an idea, but it's not 100% accurate.
The base number, so saying, you know, if they used 1 million gallons to flush hydrants, that number is taken into account with this number, but like Dale said, if it was really on for 5 minutes instead of 3 minutes or something like that, you know, they're gonna fill out the sheet to say the flow is, you know, 50 gallons a minute and it's been on for 3 minutes, but it might be plus or minus a little bit, and then when you do, you know, a lot of hydrants in a year that can.
So that automatic flushing device at the end of my block, you take into account whatever that, you
Yes.
know how much is going through that?
Yes, we know.
And then you take that off of other water losses.
Yeah, gets put on sort of unaccountable water loss, yeah.
But not in this number.
Right.
Okay.
So if someone does have a fire, that's not accounted for either.
They estimate, but I mean, again, it's not an exact science at that point. They might say we used 500,000 gallons, and they don't really know exactly what they have, but Adam kind of gets information from the fire department when they do hook up to a hydrant, and they estimate how long they were on for or whatnot, so.
Like the street sweepers, we encourage them to let us know how much they use, how many times they fill up and so forth, so they can relay that information back to us too. So it's just a matter of getting everybody to give us back what we're looking for. So,
Okay.
What about line loss? Is this pretty typical for?
We actually had a lot higher line losses when we originally got here, and that was because we had so many lower voltages on the distribution side of things. So when we consolidated everything to the 13.2 kV line, that helped a great deal. But I actually think we got a really good number considering how many miles of line that we have. Yeah.
So are we better than typical for a utility our size?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. What's usually acceptable?
Well, you know, what is our goal here?
4%.
4%. Once you start getting 5-6%, that's a lot of money you're losing. So I would say you got to start really looking at what's going on.
When we first got here, their line losses were anywhere from 7 to 10%, so they've steadily come down since we've been improving the system.
The one that we didn't meet, we talked about this one internally. We've had this same benchmark since 2015 when we set these up. And in talking about it, it's probably more of a goal than a benchmark. It's a very high level, essentially that's saying that, you know, about 50 minutes out of the year, you're not gonna have power available to you. So what we're gonna do next year and going forward is reduce that number to a benchmark that's still high, a lot higher than, you know, what we consider to be a good number. We're gonna probably take that number to 99.97%.
Yeah, because so 99.90 is the average, and saying that you're going to try to meet at 99.99, that would be like saying, well, there will be 0 deaths on highways in the state. You know, that it's a goal, but it's not very realistic.
Here's what we're telling you is we set it too high when we set it a few years ago.
Yeah, so.
Well, I mean, isn't really 99.98 like incredibly high?
It is, yeah, so our average over the last 7 years has always been 99.96 to 98, so to be at 98, we're doing really, really well, so. Yeah, so that's why we're thinking of making it 99.97, which is still a very high number, but one that we can, reach.
And maybe some of the others you want to tighten up too, right?
If we do make any changes to them, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Because
Get your feedback.
well, I'm just thinking, if you're setting an O&M of 7,000 and you're actually at 1,600, that's not a real aggressive target either, so.
We did get back our APPA comparables on all those data that we get annually, so we'll probably get together next month or two on a special meeting to review them. It'd be good for Jay to see since he hasn't seen those type of numbers yet.
But it's good to see those.
Good job.
Good, excellent. The only other thing in the financials, sort of indirect, are we incurring any excess electrical charges due to this hot weather?
Well, this month we hit 56 megawatts according to Todd yesterday, and it's up over 50 right now, so we may break that again, so I assume we're gonna have, well, we might get enough consumption behind it too, so I don't know. If anything, we might get a little bit of a demand charge, especially because it's never really this hot in June. But the longer the heat wave continues, I think we'll have enough energy behind it to kind of level out
The effect.
the increase, yeah.
And you're saying that's going against the power that you have purchased for this month, and it's starting
For
to
Great Lakes
sink.
Utilities, it's basically
Yeah.
our rate tariff
Yeah.
from Great Lakes Utilities. Yeah.
Anything else with Jeff? If not, Information Systems Administrator? Okay, I had a question, Colonial Pipeline. I just heard this afternoon, or this morning, I should say, on the news. And when they were hacked, or they said it went through a legacy VPN. And that kind of sounds like it's one that the whole neighborhood used for whatever reason. And I know this Colonial Pipeline has like between 7 and 10 people that own the company. And it was a single code. It was, your username and your entry code. He said, and it wasn't Colonial 123, so. He said it was pretty complex, but even so, it was enough to get through.
Right.
And do we have anything like a VPN that everybody uses, been around a while?
We have a VPN, but not everybody uses it. It's only used when someone works from home. That's the only time we use a VPN service.
Okay,
And that's all built in through our firewall.
all right.
Or if we're on the road, but
Yeah.
that hasn't been happening for a while, so.
Yeah. Well, they were saying that's the one thing that all companies and utilities are supposed to look for. Do you have one of these?
Yeah, we
That
don't,
everybody's been feeding into. He says that's an easy way to get into your system.
this sounds like it was an older program that they used to use,
Yeah.
and it was still active. We do
Yeah.
not have anything like that.
Yeah, good,
We only have active software packages
good.
that we use all the time.
Yeah, I think that's our last meeting. We had a meat packer and the Colonial Pipeline.
Yeah, yeah.
Never ending.
No, don't stop our meat. And what is it, when you say the new gatekeepers, what are we replacing gatekeepers, or? What do they
Yeah,
do?
so in our AMI system, in our metering system, all the meters talk to each other. And they try to find, we have 18 of these gatekeepers out in the system, and these are collection points. So all the meters try to talk back to the gatekeeper, in as short a path as possible. So then the gatekeeper is connected directly back to our server, and it brings in all the readings that the meters send to it. So the meters send the readings to these gatekeepers, and they hold them until we talk to the gatekeeper and say, okay, send us the readings. And we do that on a daily basis.
Okay,
We needed an upgrade in the gatekeepers. One, because I think the software is getting out of date. And two, with the large power outage that we had a couple years ago, these gatekeepers aren't battery backup, so we couldn't really track outages well, where the new ones now have a battery to back it up in case there's an outage.
are you adding more, or are these just replacements?
No, these are just replacements. They're actually better performing, so we could, if I really took a good look at it, we might be able to actually eliminate one or maybe two. But we want to keep it as robust as possible, so we're just gonna keep all 18. And we might actually move some around to get them to fiber instead of cellular, so we don't have a monthly charge on the communication side.
Be more secure as well.
Yeah, fiber would definitely be more secure.
How many cellular devices do we have out? Usually it was with some of the collection devices on the outskirts that you were using cellular rather than the,
That's these that we're doing cellular with. These are the only cellular devices we're gonna have
okay,
right now. We did try to get the reclosers to work on cellular, but we couldn't get that operational. So Todd's routing them through fiber
okay.
where he can. So we might have to revisit it if he's got some reclosers further out in the system.
And you would rather have fiber, wouldn't you?
We would, yeah, which is why we kind of gave up on the cellular for the reclosers and went with this.
Yeah, you had a lot of trouble. You went to every known cellular dealer in town and they all said yes, and they said, oh no, we can't do it that
Yeah,
way.
we can't do it that way.
Yeah. Anything else on that? If not, the conservation manager's report?
Sean, it looks like the MSDS online conversion is working well. It sounds like you're impressed with it, or at least it's what meets your expectations, and now just trying to get some other users on it to get their feedback, right?
Yeah,
And
we're
you're
halfway
finding
through
out
the
that
process.
after this learning curve, it's a good tool.
As of now, 50% through. It's been very user friendly. I guess one of the one features I like about it is the scanning of the UPC codes that we're entering into the system. And any employee or anyone that's purchasing the product can just scan it and they will get that SDS sheet immediately. It like takes 10 seconds.
That's a nice
And
tool.
so they can see it if they're out in the field, if there's a problem where they need to know what they need to do, if they got chemical in the eye. And so that's gonna be great.
That's huge.
And or if, they're going to Ace Hardware, they're buying a product
Sure.
and they have 3 to choose from, they can take their phone, they'll have an app on it, they can scan that UPC and see which one to buy. And it'll be probably highly recommended if the cost is relatively the same to purchase the one we already have in the system.
Okay,
You know,
very
which
good.
one are we using? So that's, I think it's gonna work
This
out
is a
great.
good move.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I saw in the weekly paper that we have that the Congregational Church is putting a solar array on their roof. And they're using, I think, the same people the library used. I don't know, did anybody talk to you or?
I had an early discussion with them, but I was not aware that Viking was, and I haven't received any paperwork on that as well.
Okay.
So I haven't seen the
They had a
design
picture and
diagram.
5 people from the church with the contractor.
Okay,
So it looks like it's well on its way.
and it was Viking Electric?
I might be wrong on that.
Okay, and I never heard that installer even get brought up.
Okay.
2 other ones.
I heard the name, that's why I thought it was the one with the library.
Yeah. I can find out.
I just thought you ought to know if,
Yeah.
because I know you never mentioned.
I helped them out with some of the data,
Okay,
you know, looking at, answering a few questions that they had. And that was months ago, but I haven't heard anything since, so.
anything else, Sean? If not, how about we'll go to the Director of Engineering and Electrical Operations.
Is this primarily driven by copper price?
I think it's a combination of copper pricing and then probably a relation to the COVID and maybe, you know, manufacturing was down. Or right now, there's maybe a lot of installations didn't get put in last year. Now everybody's going to town and doing projects. I think it's related to both, so.
And at this point, it's only impacting underground pad mounts. It's not really affecting overhead transformers.
Have you gotten any delivery? Has there been
So we
a
just
delivery?
got in all the shipments that we ordered in November, so everything that we needed for this year arrived in the last month or so.
Okay,
So we're good there. And then Resco, which is the company that we've pretty much have been going with for the last probably 5-6 years because they've always been winning the bid. They allowed us to put a placeholder in for next year's order, and we can cancel at, up to December at no charge.
how
So that's
many
what
transformers do you usually purchase in a year? for these
well,
distribution?
last year we had probably about 120 transformers total. Now this year we ended up putting a placeholder on about 80 transformers. So we're trying to, like I said in the report, reduce our project load by less, just to see if we can ride through these costs and see if they'll come down in the year or so.
Well, I know copper pricing is all-time high. When 10 years ago when I was still working, we always did well when copper pricing, started to increase. Then all the miners started going for it. The highest I ever saw was like $4 a pound. I think it's a pound. I think it's like $4.65, $4.75 right now. So it's pretty high.
Yeah.
And of course, with low interest rates and people developing subdivisions, I would imagine there's more distribution transformers being taken up.
Yeah, and most new construction's underground, so that it all kind of relates to each other.
Yeah. And you talked about that northern steel transformer. I know that was for that particular device transformer that we had in the building.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they sold all 3 of them that they had. They had a couple in case one would burn out.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's anything in our area that's that hybrid like that.
Right, it is an oddball unit, so we're working right now to see if we can sell it.
Okay, if nothing of Todd yet, how about general manager report? It's kind of boring in the last, your reports are kind of like, it's either Google or
You see there,
Great Lakes Utilities.
is writing them in a non-controversial fashion.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, if there's nothing of Jim, how about we go to the accounts payable?
I think I've asked this before, but it didn't stick. What the hell is a blow-off?
So blow-off is the water that we send to the sewer from the water treatment process, so it gets kind of more condensed or more slurry, and then it gets down probably once a month or every 6 weeks. We send
Yeah,
it to
so
the
this
sewer.
is like the back flushing from the filtration?
Yeah, it's your collection of flock with
Yep.
your
Okay.
iron stuff.
Remember years back when we changed the system, we were like sole supporter of the sewer plant
Right.
because of all the blow off.
Yeah,
Yeah, we went from about 20 grand a month down to 1,500.
right. That's a good thing. And then, I see we have these boring, bills. Do we do any of our own boring, or do we contract that all
We contract it all out. So J&R is our contractor for boring. So anytime like in our capital budget where we list our, future projects of that we're gonna go underground, that's the company that's doing the boring for us.
And we bid it out every couple of years to make sure they're still competitive, but Josh likes the type of work they do and they're really responsive to our needs. And our guys do the open cut trenching, but we don't own a boring machine and they're very expensive.
out? Not cost effective.
No, we don't have anybody trained to use one and I don't want the utility to take on insurance liabilities as well.
Is most boring done in the warm weather?
Well, until it freezes.
Do they go when it's cold, you start boring?
They can, but you pay winter charges.
Yeah, so you try to do it,
90% of everything's right now.
so that alone is, to have something like hybrid like that wouldn't make much sense for us. Any other comments on accounts payable? I don't. And it kind of looks like John's ready to go, so.
It's got a meeting.
So would somebody like to make
So moved.
a motion, okay, a motion to adjourn the
Second.
meeting? Second. All in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you.